Last night, Beijing effectively severed Moscow's economic lifeline. Reports indicate that China has ceased an unofficial but vital subsidy system that has been supporting Russia's metals industry. This strategic pivot directly threatens a revenue stream valued at over $60 billion, placing immense pressure on Russia's economy, which is already strained by the costs of war. The decision by Beijing dismantles a foundational element of Russia's economic survival strategy, a strategy heavily reliant on Chinese support following Western sanctions. This leaves the Kremlin in an increasingly isolated and financially vulnerable position as one of its last major sources of income begins to diminish. The now terminated arrangement operated for several years, providing a clandestine but essential support structure for Russia's metal sector. The mechanism functioned through a network of unpublished rebates and special discounts offered to Chinese state-owned enterprises that imported Russian copper and nickel. This system allowed these companies to purchase Russian metals at prices significantly below the global market rate. They could then resell these materials at standard prices, capturing the difference as profit. For Russia, this indirect financial support was more than just advantageous. It formed the very backbone of the industry's ability to compete on the global stage. It created a financial bridge that ensured the continuous flow of exports after Western markets imposed sweeping sanctions in the year 2022. The strategic value of this subsidy bridge and the consequences of its sudden removal can be understood in the context of the post-invasion economic landscape. Following the events of 2022, the United States and European nations acted decisively to isolate Russia from the global economy. Major trading hubs like the London Metal Exchange and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange prohibited the trade of Russian origin metals, which effectively cut off Moscow from its traditional customer base almost overnight. In this challenging environment, China emerged as the indispensable buyer of last resort. However, Beijing's involvement was not limited to simple trade. It evolved into a role as the financial guarantor for Russia's entire metals industry. The hidden subsidies ensured that Russian producers could remain profitable and operational, thereby preventing widespread factory closures, mass unemployment, and a more severe depreciation of the ruble. This arrangement was less a partnership of equals and more a form of economic life support facilitated through bilateral trade. The effectiveness of this system was clearly reflected in trade data from earlier this year. Russian copper sales to China increased by a remarkable 66%, while nickel shipments more than doubled when compared to the same period in the previous year. At its peak, the subsidy mechanism was so effective that Russian aluminum was being traded at discounts exceeding 20% below global benchmark prices. This established a mutually beneficial relationship. Russia preserved its production capacity and generated essential export revenue, while China secured a consistent supply of low-cost raw materials for its expansive industrial sector. Consequently, the impact of Beijing's policy reversal has been both swift and severe. Without the financial incentives, Russian metals are no longer competitively priced on the Chinese market. Chinese importers have reportedly begun cancelling future shipments and are now redirecting their procurement strategies towards suppliers in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America. These regions offer more stable pricing, present lower political risks, and provide access to new reserves. This strategic pivot leaves Russia in a precarious situation, burdened with overpriced inventory and a rapidly shrinking pool of potential buyers. The very same commodities that were in high demand just a few months ago are now accumulating in warehouses as Russian exporters struggle to finalize deals and watch their profit margins quickly disappear. This development strikes at the heart of the Kremlin's economic strategy since 2022. In the face of unprecedented sanctions from the West, Moscow had become heavily dependent on Beijing to absorb the commodities that were no longer welcome in other markets, including metals, oil, gas, and timber. China became the economic lifeline that enabled the Russian government to project an image of resilience, frequently highlighting strong export figures despite its growing international isolation. Now, as Beijing systematically withdraws its support, that carefully constructed narrative is beginning to crumble. The timing of this subsidy termination is particularly damaging for Moscow. The Russian federal budget is already stretched to its absolute limit. Military expenditures continue to rise, consuming an increasingly large portion of national resources and necessitating deep cuts in other essential sectors. Social services are being reduced, pensions have been frozen, and financial support for regional governments is diminishing. Simultaneously, inflation continues to gather pace, with real wages having declined by over 8% 8% this year alone. For the Russian government, the fiscal pressure is immense and continues to mount with each passing day. The collapse of the metals revenue stream will significantly worsen this ongoing crisis. Last year, exports of copper, nickel, and aluminum generated over $60 billion for the Russian economy. This provided a crucial source of foreign currency that helped to compensate for the declining revenues from natural gas exports. This income was instrumental in funding military operations, supporting domestic infrastructure projects, and maintaining a facade of economic stability. With Chinese demand now sharply declining, analysts predict a 20 to 30% drop in Russia's metals revenue by the end of the year. This is not a minor economic downturn. It represents a substantial shortfall in the federal budget. The Kremlin will now be forced to make difficult decisions, either implement deeper and more painful cuts to public services or consider printing more money, a measure that carries the significant risk of triggering hyperinflation and further destabilizing the economy. The effects of this crisis are already becoming apparent in Russia's industrial heartland. In the Ural Mountains, the region where most of the nation's nickel and copper are mined and processed, factories are confronting a period of profound uncertainty. Entire cities built around the metals industry, such as Norilsk and Magnitogorsk, face an existential threat. As production slows, workers are being laid off, local economies are beginning to stagnate, and regional governments are left struggling to secure the necessary funds to operate. This slow, grinding economic pressure is creating the conditions for potential social and political instability. Beijing's decision to terminate the subsidies was not a random act. It was a calculated and strategic move that reflects a fundamental reassessment of its relationship with Moscow. Officially, the Chinese government has maintained its silence on the policy shift. However, the underlying motivations are becoming clear. Firstly, Beijing is taking steps to insulate its own economy from the volatility and risk associated with a heavily sanctioned partner. As China confronts its own domestic economic challenges, including a struggling property market and record-high youth unemployment, the strategic priority of propping up Russia's faltering industries has diminished. Secondly, this action serves as a defensive measure against the increasing threat of secondary sanctions from the West. The United States has clearly communicated that any entity, including Chinese banks and corporations, found to be assisting Russia in circumventing sanctions will face severe consequences. For Beijing, whose economic stability is deeply intertwined with its access to global markets, a direct financial conflict with Washington is a scenario to be avoided at all costs. By reducing its support for key Russian industries, China is quietly lowering its exposure and signaling to the West that its allegiance to Moscow has its limits. The leverage in the relationship has now shifted decisively in Beijing's favor. China can still purchase Russian metals if it wishes, but it can now dictate terms, forcing Moscow into a difficult position. Sell at a steep discount or do not sell at all. This shift is part of a wider, more methodical pullback by Beijing. In August, trade data indicated a 16% decline in Chinese exports to Russia and a nearly 18% drop in Russian exports to China. The pivot to the east, a strategy once championed by the Kremlin, is rapidly losing its momentum. This retreat is most pronounced in the technology sector. A year ago, Chinese and Russian firms were announcing ambitious collaborations in fields like artificial intelligence and telecommunications. Today, the majority of those initiatives have been quietly put on hold. Beijing understands that its own technology sector is vulnerable to Western sanctions and is unwilling to jeopardize its global ambitions to support Russia's depleted defense industry. Simultaneously, China is leveraging Russia's current weakness to expand its own influence across Central Asia, a region that Moscow has historically considered its exclusive sphere of influence. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, Beijing is financing and constructing critical infrastructure, including pipelines, railways, and industrial hubs. These projects are systematically reorienting the entire region's economy towards China and away from Russia. The Kazakhstan-China-Kyrgyz Gateway, a massive dry port, and the new China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railway are tangible examples of projects that bypass and marginalize legacy Russian transportation and trade networks. As Russia's influence in the region wanes, China is quietly and effectively constructing a new economic order in Eurasia, with Beijing positioned firmly at its center. In conclusion, the termination of China's unofficial subsidies for Russian metals signifies a critical turning point in the Sino-Russian relationship. While it does not represent a complete break, it is a clear and deliberate act of strategic decoupling. Beijing has evidently concluded that the risks associated with its close alignment with a sanctioned state now outweigh the benefits. For Russia, the consequences are severe. The decision cripples a vital industry, deepens an already serious budget crisis, and dismantles the narrative of a resilient, sanction-proof economy. Internally, the Kremlin is likely to respond with its customary tactics: state-funded subsidies to support failing industries, tax increases to generate revenue, and a sustained propaganda campaign to obscure the true severity of the economic situation. However, these are temporary solutions that fail to address the underlying problem. Russia is becoming progressively more isolated, increasingly dependent on a shrinking pool of buyers, and compelled to sell its natural resources at ever steeper discounts simply to maintain cash flow. Ultimately, China's calculated move exposes the transactional nature of the so-called no-limits partnership. As Russia's value as a strategic partner diminishes, Beijing is recalibrating the terms of the arrangement. Russia, having wagered its economic future on a single relationship, now finds itself in the subordinate role of a client state. The balance of power has irrevocably shifted, leaving Moscow's more dependent, more vulnerable neighbor to face a future of gradual economic erosion. This was a precisely timed strategic maneuver by Beijing, executed to maximize its own advantage while allowing its partner to realize, perhaps too late, that the fundamental dynamics of their relationship have changed.